So you transitioning into IT, you finally got that certification you've been working on. Now what?
Let's dig in and talk about what you need to do after you take your certification.
Like we said before, obtaining a certification, let's talk about Red Hat specifically. Getting your RHCSA, you want to become a Linux system admin. Getting your RHCSA is it's just the starting of the actual work.
Yeah, it's an important milestone.
It's an important milestone, but
one you should be very proud about.
Yeah, but it's just one part of the process.
Of course.
Because after that, you need to make sure you actually start putting more hands-on knowledge in your toolbox. And one way to do that, if you go with Yellowtail Tech, you're gonna go into the apprenticeship. But if you are going another way, you have to find ways to actually get the hands-on, because that's gonna be the first thing you're gonna have to articulate in an interview. How do you do things? It's not only talking about the tool in a very generic way, it's how you used it in a very particular setting.
What did you build?
What did you build?
How did you build it?
And how, you have to be able, because it's not always necessary to go into that much detail, but you have to be able to talk about configuration of that tool.
Yeah.
So all this comes with having had hands-on. So it's very important after you get your training, now you got your cert, you have to focus on hands-on. Hands-on is the next step.
Yep. One thing we have to mention is that sysadmins and even cloud engineers, we're change makers. Like the reason why they pay us the big bucks is because our companies trust us to figure out how to use tools.
Yeah.
So somebody else may design the tool, but we have to figure out how to make it work in our particular environment.
Yeah. Talking about tools too, next thing you need to know after you pass the cert, even before you start doing that hands-on, is understand what are the most relevant tools out there that a Linux admin, besides the actual operating system, need to know.
Yeah.
And you go focus on adding those additional knowledge on those tools. That's also, it comes back to having a community, having the support, having the mentor. To actually, because there's 50,000 tools out there, but there are 20 that are mostly used in most environments. These are the tools you focus on. These are the tools you try to have enough knowledge around, enough working knowledge around to be able to make your resume start being attractive. Because you have to work on your resume.
Yeah.
You have to make your resume tell a story of someone who can show up from day one and start delivering value. Because that's the whole idea. It's not by accident they pay so well. It's because they actually expect from day one you're gonna be able to go into this environment and start solving problems.
Yeah.
I talk about that in a prior podcast. People pay you not because you're a sysadmin. People pay you because you can help them solve problems that is worth millions to the company.
Yep.
And you have to be able to articulate that. So if you have a certification and you're not able to articulate those skills, you're not able to convince them those peripheral tools that you're going to be working on every day, you are not going to get a job. You're going to go to interviews. You're probably not even going to get too much traction on your resume, but you have to focus on these things to actually.
Yep. And it comes with an exercise of honesty to yourself. Like I took this certification. What did I do good on? What did I fail on? Because you can pass a cert and still underperform in certain subjects. Also, you have to recognize what else that's not covered by that certification do I need to know about? Can I spend time there? Sometimes you don't even have to use that tool. You just have to understand what role it plays in an environment and learn enough to be dangerous, how they say. Because again, you won't be able to expose yourself to all of them.
And also, the job search process is a very dynamic and intentional process. What I mean, the same the same resume is not gonna work for every job you apply. So you have to actually be willing to put in the work where you look at the job, you look at what they need, and you see if there is any tools that you don't have that's very important to them.
Yeah.
And you can do some quick study on the tools to know enough. But it requires work. Because most people think they're just gonna write one resume and send it all over, and then the job is gonna come to them.
Yeah, or that they don't have to research the company ahead of time. And that's a big mistake.
Exactly. Because if you research the company and if you read and study the job description, you're going to quickly understand what are the tools and skills important to that employer. You have to actually brush up on those tools, brush up on those particular skills.
You have to come up with questions to ask them too.
Regarding those tools and skills.
And
because
about the team.
It's clear to you that this is what's important to them.
Yep.
So all this is very important to understand, to do after you get a certification. Because a certification alone is a good thing, but it's not going to get you a job. You need a career roadmap. You need a study plan. You need a lot of discipline in your job search. That's what gets you the job.
Not only that, that's also what gets you a career and not a job. Because you know where you want to go. And you may leave some things open for reality to take you, but you choose where do I want to be in 10 years? Where do I want to be in 5 years? What are other skills that I need to continue working on even after I get in there?
Yeah.
So like you could say, yes, I passed the RHCSA. Now I am a Linux system admin.
Yeah.
But it's common, let's say, for Linux admins to learn about configuration management.
Yeah.
So there are 10 configuration management tools. I could learn about Ansible. I can learn about Puppet. I can learn about Chef, Salt, and a million more. So at least you know, okay, I can leave open which tool I will learn, but I know I have to learn one of those tools.
Yeah.
And you can even make it a point to say, hey, if I end up landing a job in an environment that uses Salt, I'll just learn Salt.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna have that environment that I'm gonna be getting experience on.
Yeah. So basically, post certification, you need a roadmap. You need mentors. You need people who have done it already. You need a network, and most importantly, you need to put intention behind it.